Hi, so I'm joining you today to talk about the autumn equinox, which is going to happen on the 22nd of September 2024 at 13:43 British Summer Time. So actually that's an hour later in France where I am. And the equinox is one of the cardinal points of the year. It's when the sun enters into the sign of Libra. The other cardinal points are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So Cancer and Capricorn are the solstice, when the sun's either the longest day and the longest night, as it were. And then the equinoxes are literally equal night, when the day and night are of equal length all around the globe, more or less. So at this point, actually, in Libra, it's when the sun sort of starts its descent into the underworld. And it's linked to the myth of Persephone and Demeter, or Demeter, I'm never sure how to say it, which is worth looking up if you don't know it. Briefly, it's about when Persephone was abducted by Hades, or Pluto, which is the Roman name. Hades is a Greek name, and taken down into the underworld to be his queen. So Demeter, her mother, who's a harvest goddess, was not at all happy. And she essentially, well, she didn't really sulk, but she was absolutely furious. So she stopped anything growing on the earth. And the people obviously began to starve. Everybody began to starve. There were no harvests and there was no sunshine. It was all really horrible. And eventually there was some negotiation between the gods, I can't remember which one it was, and Hades, Pluto, to let Persephone out for some of the time. So she comes up into the world for 6 months of the year, when we have, lovely spring and summer and sunny times in autumn. And then for 6 months of the year, she goes down into the underworld. So it's an interesting time, really, and it's a time when all of us start to kind of think about, just hunkering down. Not quite yet, maybe, but it's getting chilly out there. So the cardinal ingress, as we call it, when the sun enters into Libra, is an important moment, and it's worth looking at that chart because it takes us through the next 3 months until we get to the solstice on the 21st or 22nd of December. And this time, so the dispositor of the sun, the ruler of the sun in Libra, is Venus. So this myth is actually quite important this time, because Venus is making a challenging aspect to Pluto. So that brings up actually themes of self-worth, and challenges perhaps in relationships as we go down into this underworld period. Venus is all about our values. We're strong because we're in our own sign, and we're ready to talk and negotiate because Libra likes to do that, likes to be in the relationship, loves peace, justice, fairness, balance. But Pluto is all about the power struggles. Now, this could also relate to the wider world, of course, but it'll play out on every level in our relationships and our own lives too. So it's worth looking to see how Venus at this moment is 29, I think, 29 degrees of Libra. So she's right at the end of Libra. If you have planets there, then this next 3 months could be important for you in various ways, maybe to do with your relationships, to do with power struggles, depending where the planets are. But remember that Venus is in a strong position to negotiate because she is still in her own sign and she is good at it. So Neptune continues to be involved actually in this whole sort of scheme of things with the cardinal ingress, the sign of Libra, the autumn equinox, because it opposes the sun. So we're still thinking along the themes of compassion, sacrifice, those kinds of themes too are going to be involved in these next 3 months. But as the sun moves into Libra, it's still hanging on to a grand trine, which is a lovely flowing aspect actually, which which takes in the moon and Pluto. So that's quite interesting. So that's powerful. And the grand trine actually perfected in the earth sign. So something to do with the material world, to do with the planet, which may actually be harmonious and positive, or in our own lives could be issues to do with land or property, something like that. Yeah, and going forward, suggesting that there's going to be a lot of discussion about these things, because with the moon in Gemini, making this lovely flowing aspect to the sun in Libra, there's discussion around contracts, around relationships, and it's powerful as well. And it is maybe to do with finance, Pluto, to do with land. That's the Pluto and Capricorn part of it. Lots of planets in air in this ingress, so very much about discussion. But Mercury, who's in charge of those planets in Gemini, so that's both the moon and Jupiter, is still in Virgo. So he's strong, but he wants to manage the detail. You know, he wants to pay attention to things and manage everything effectively. He wants to get it right. So there's some caution involved here too. If you are involved in any kind of negotiation, beware of the power struggles and read the small print. It's a good time to do this negotiation, but you need to pay attention and not take anything for granted. So immediately after the equinox, on the 23rd of September, Venus moves into Scorpio. Now that's a very different vibe altogether, much more don't give a shit type of vibe, excuse me. But Scorpio, you know, Scorpio draws boundaries, and it's emotional, sensitive, and very invested in what it's doing. So if you've got to this point now, everything is still up for discussion, because actually Mercury is about to move into Libra, but there's less room for negotiation, really, because Venus is in Scorpio. So you're going to have to tread carefully. There might be hidden stuff. You might have to go down to the underworld to sort things out. You might have to kind of play them at their own game a bit, you know, whatever it is. Just maybe not giving everything up, even though you'd like to, because you're basically, you know, feeling quite honest about things. But you might just have to play your cards, as it were, close to your chest, and negotiate very carefully, and just keep reading the small print. That's my advice, really. So discussion, caution, careful management, attention to detail. Neptune's involvement suggests keeping your dreams and your compassion and your ideals and values and all those kinds of things very firmly in mind, while you're just negotiating your pants off and maintaining your boundaries and your integrity. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.